What's going on, everybody? Safar Sadek here. I've been hearing a lot of noise and ruckus and all this other stuff on social media, primarily YouTube and TikTok, and it's all pretty much, the same thing. The disparity among the so-called black community about, this black women hating black men hating black women, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to cover this topic from a rather obscure context and perspective that a lot of our people aren't paying attention to, and it's going to, serve to their detriment as a result of it. Now, there's this new, I guess you can call it, it's new to me because I've never heard it before, this new phenomenon known as pick me among, our black women. Hey, pick me. Well, I mean, perhaps these black women have realized something that the majority of the rest of you haven't. And that has to be what's going on. And like I said, I'm going to cover this from what's known as an SHTF perspective, okay? And let me get that out of the way. There we go. And SHTF, for those of you that don't know, is an acronym for shit hit the fan, okay? And I'm going to really, get into that prospect of this message to the so-called black community towards the end. Well, when you really think about it, when we as a people got brought to this hellhole that we're in right now, we've been in SHTF or shit hit the fan ever since then. For us, everybody else, this was like the Garden of Eden, so to speak. Well, over the course of the past 400 years of us being in SHTF, when we got down to about the last 50 years, it went from us as a people being in SHTF to the black man specifically being in SHTF in this country. And you all can say whatever you want, but that is the facts. That is the truth. Right now, as I speak on so-called July the 5th of this here 2022, there are protests brewing in Akron, Ohio, once again over the police brutality of a black man. Weren't we just here 2 years ago? And the nation erupted, hell, the whole world erupted into protest and everything because of police brutality against a black man. So I don't want to hear all this other, shit about, well, the black man is toxic masculinity, blah, 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 yeah, whatever. And also, this nation is divided over what happened a couple of weeks ago with this Roe versus Wade being overturned, which was a slap in the face to feminism. So you can't tell me that we are in SHTF and we black folks, us Israelites, in case you don't know that, are definitely suffering from this SHTF that's going on right now. The black man's catching the brunt of it. If it weren't so, then why are you people protesting the police brutality of the latest black male victim? Okay, so this pick me thing, and I got a couple of video clips I'm gonna show at the end of this presentation, from black women's perspective about this pick me thing. And in a nutshell, you got the so-called sisterhood that's really coming against these women for who they perceive to be sellouts. Sellouts to what? Sellouts to what? White supremacist feminism that you all thrive under? Yes, you do. Yeah, you thrive under it. With your abortions, the ability to abort masculine male children. You knew who the father was when you lied with them. And if you lay with several of them, and you Pookies and Ray Rays, who you all generally lay with and get pregnant by, You know that in the mix of that there was a masculine, authoritative black man somehow got through, and you slept with him too. And so now you're wondering, damn, I don't know which one of these babies this is really going to be. But to make sure that black, masculine, authoritative man's seed don't go through, I'm going to just abort this child and not have to worry about that. That's the game that's being played. It's being played and it's being played and it's being played. You can't tell me that that's not true, because if it were not true, then there would be more of us masculine, authoritative black men than there are Pookies and Ray Rays. These Pookies and Ray Rays outnumber us damn near 50-1. So don't try to deflect and say, well, there's no well nothing. Y'all love these Pookies and Ray Rays. That's the reason why you cold or herd by aborting any possibility of their coming out between your legs. A masculine, authoritative man, you just abort everything, okay? Even if it was a girl, doesn't matter as long as I get rid of that authoritative, masculine black man. But when you know that it's going to be a Pookie and a Ray Ray, that one gets through. See, and this is because you all are functioning under an SHTF value system that's recently been giving you all the fringe benefits of this white supremacist society until the 24th of June. All that came to a screeching halt. Y'all know it did. Y'all know it did. Hell, y'all are even divided between you and the white woman now, because those of you that live under this value system feel like that, the white woman didn't support you enough. You didn't get enough child support payments. You didn't get enough HUD payments. You didn't get to live where the rich white people live. You were stuck in the hood. You didn't get to wear all the weaves that you wanted to wear. You didn't get to twerk in all the places you wanted to twerk and everything, even though you were living under the same value system. And so now you feel like the white women didn't do enough to give you, as if you didn't get enough out of this value system. So, all right, let's go look at the next slide and let's really look at this value system that I'm talking about. Here we go. Look at the backdrop back there. This is where we are right now at the time of this recording. Everything seems to be okay. All right, let's look at this value system right here. You got S in the middle, H to the left, T to the right, F on the bottom, SHTF. But this value system doesn't stand for shit hit the fan. No. Let's look to the left in blue. Let's look at the H part of the acronym. The majority of you black women nowadays that are living under this value system, under the SHTF acronym, hostility. You are completely hostile against masculine, authoritative male black men. Hell, you're hostile against Pookie and Ray Ray to an extent, till you're ready to lay down and, get your freak on. But it's more so geared towards us. All right. But since the overturning of Roe versus Wade, y'all become more and more increasingly hostile to everybody around you, even the so-called sisterhood that you've been upholding under this value system. You just, hostile all the way around. Just completely hostile. But in this society, look at the S in the middle. This is highly valued. You all are considered high value because of this value system that you live under. And right now, the H factor of it is hostility. That's highly valued among you women nowadays, you black women. Let's look to the right of that in the green. Treachery. That's how y'all operate, man. Full-blown treachery, especially towards us. Extremely treacherous towards us in every way possible. Okay? How do we know that that young man that got shot up there in Akron, Ohio last week wasn't doing something that was motivated by one of y'all's bidding somewhere he didn't have no business? driving with his credentials not how they were supposed to be, which got him stopped, that put him in a situation where he felt like he needed to run for his life, which ended in his life being ended. How do we know that, he wasn't operating under the treachery of the so-called sisterhood, doing one of y'all's bidding when he should have been doing something else? Now everybody's out ready to all in the uproar and all emotional and everything, just like George Floyd. And now you're ready to, take to the streets and do what you normally do. So what was the difference between George Floyd and this guy? The rest of the black men that got killed in between that time frame. Why did y'all choose these two and omit the rest of them? Don't y'all know that Black Lives Matter was called out to be bullshit? And now there's a petition being signed by the so-called black community to hold these clowns accountable, these black women that were supposedly, being the heads of this farce, because that's what it turned out to be. I always said that because I was like, hey, when Black Lives Matter came out on the scene and became mainstream, I was asking one simple question. Nobody wanted to answer. Nobody wanted to even bother with it. What chapter of the NAACP did they come from? Nobody ever answered the question. And they probably never will, because to do so is too self-incriminating. But yeah, man, that treachery of this value system is highly valued under this value system. So much so that the black women that are saying, hey, pick me, I'm not a part of this value system, are being, shamed, gaslighted, and all this other stuff, just like us black men. Why? Because of the treachery of this value system. And let's look on the bottom. What's the foundation of this value system? The F factor of this acronym: feminism. Yes, sir, feminism in all its ugly glory. It's all can be traced back to feminism. Well, the white women were the ones that started the feminism. That's another form of deflection away from accepting the accountability and being held responsible for this bullshit. That's the number one tactic when you corner black women that operate, function, and thrive under this value system. The number one tactic is deflection and to point the finger at first the white woman and then the black man, never the white man. And it's not going to change. So any of you brothers out here, that I want you to know this, whenever you make these reaction videos, which I do quite enjoy. I make a few myself here and there. Just got finished doing another work I'll explain in the next slide. But you're never going to change the women that have benefited and thrived under this value system, under this SHTF value system. They can't be changed because they can't see outside of this value system. They see no value outside of this value system. So they're never going to change. The only women you're going to reach with your message are the ones in this slide. Right here. The ones that see this coming, like the white people and everybody else. They see this coming. So they've chosen to say, hey, pick me so that I can operate under this value system that will ensure or at least drastically increase my self-preservation when this comes, because we're there now. Right now, we are there. Y'all think y'all going to make it to the midterm elections and change anything? You're going to be lucky, and I do mean very lucky, to survive this month without this happening to you personally or across the board. All right, let's look at this value system that's actually valuable in this context. You have the S in the middle. You have the H over here to the left, humility, which replaces hostility. You have the T over here to the top right in the green, which is trustworthiness, which replaces treachery. And you have on the bottom down here the F factor of this value system in the red, which is femininity, which replaces feminism. All right. So the women now that are saying, hey, pick me, the black women that are saying, pick me, they understand this, although they may have never had this taught to them in this format, however, or they've never seen a video where a black man codified this value system in this context, but they still understand it. Why? Because they are a part of that very small remnant of black people that are going to make it beyond this right here. There's a remnant of us that's going to make it beyond this. And the good news to you black women that are saying, hey, pick me, and you can care less with these other toxic black women. You can care less about them, and you should, because they're not going to make it beyond this right here. The good news is, myself personally, I took it upon myself to train online a group of men, a select group of men, and not just authoritative masculine black men either. All those who are willing to come to that well, drink from this training regimen that I put together several years back and have been doing it. Even before this so-called pandemic of 2020 hit, I was training these men. And as time progressed, as this pandemic hit, the training regimen became more intense. And it evolved with the, current things that were going on, the current events that were going on and everything. And it's all based off of scripture, prophecy within scripture, the laws, statutes, and commandments within the scripture, along with personal experience. Because I didn't teach this lesson in its entirety sitting in the comfort of my own home. 95% of this lesson was taught moving from the east coast of the United States all the way over here to the western part of the United States where I am, being homeless. I am a 2-time veteran. I was in the Navy for 4 years during the Desert Storm era. I was an electronics technician, one of very few blacks in that particular rate in the Navy. And my sub skill set was I was a crypto tech. Okay, I worked with a lot of high tech shit, a lot of high tech stuff. Got out 7.5 months later. I joined the Army, where I eventually ended up in airborne communications. I was in the 82nd Airborne, a paratrooper. Yeah, one of these damn crazy asses jumping out of airplanes. All right. So I have over the course of 7 years, I have an extensive military background. And when I got out of that and got married, I was receiving a lot of non-traditional wilderness survivalist type training. This very non-conventional. And I was doing this before the prepper ideology became mainstream. People were definitely looking at me strange because they were like, what you doing in here? This is for the white man. The hell you doing involved in this? No, because I having the foresight that I have, I saw value in that, in all this back then, because I saw this coming. All the way 15 plus years ago, I saw this coming. I've been out of the military for about 26, 27 years, but I saw this coming. So I saw value in all that back then. So when the prepper ideology and when the prepper term became somewhat household leading up to 2015 and beyond, I was already well versed in all this stuff. So once I started my homeless journey in 2017 up until now, I was more than ready. Okay. I went all the way from Asheville, North Carolina, well, actually from my hometown in North Carolina where I'm from, all the way into Asheville, North Carolina, where I was there for 2 years, left there, went to Biloxi, Mississippi for a couple of weeks, slept out in the woods and on the beach, went from there to Mobile, Alabama. From there, I trekked all the way to Dallas, Texas, homeless the whole time. I went from Dallas to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, homeless. From there to Tulsa, Oklahoma, for a few weeks, homeless. Back to Dallas, Texas, still homeless, where I died in the VA hospital from a medical condition that I have. From there, I was there during the time when that winter storm had came down there. I was there at that time. After that storm left, about a week and a half later, I left Dallas, Texas, went to San Antonio, Texas. There, homeless. From there, I trekked all the way up in through New Mexico, through Albuquerque, into Phoenix, Arizona, homeless for a couple days. From there, Las Vegas, Nevada, homeless, back to Phoenix, homeless where I am currently. I'm not homeless now because when I got back here to Phoenix this past February, that medical condition that I had relapsed. While I'm on the street, while I'm teaching all this stuff, the whole time, I ended up back in a VA hospital again for a week. The first time in Dallas, it was 2 weeks. This time it was only a week. No, I didn't die. And after that, the VA finally decided to put me in a transitional environment where I wasn't homeless until I ended up into this apartment. And I'm seeing more and more and more people, especially black women, hit these streets. More and more and more. And more and more and more of them are now saying, hey, pick me. I'm not just some YouTube content creator that's fleecing his sheep with a Cash App and a Patreon and a PayPal pay account attached to what I do. I ain't knocking that, but if you're going to fleece the sheep, at least give them value in return. At least do that much, okay? Give them something that don't just call the problem out. And I have my share of doing that, but I also have created a solution. Not for this time. What the work that I have done is not for this time. It's not. So any woman, black woman living under this value system will never see any value in anything that I've done. I'm like the Kevin Samuels of this time. We're right there knocking at the door. Okay. I taught what I call the Eli series. Eli, an acronym standing for Elect Leader of Israel. I've taught these men based on scripture, prophecy, and personal experience how to, once they are no longer in a house or an apartment, but out and about, how to survive because I was doing it in real time. I told them how to put together packs, how to, live off of minimalism, how to show up in a city anywhere and set up shop, and you should be ready to go to operate from no more than a week's time. How? Because I did it all the way across the southern United States. I'm 51 years old. I've been doing this shit for almost 2 years. Health ain't the best, but I still made it happen. Right now, I'm in this apartment. I ain't got a dime to my name right now. I get a little measly $150 some from the VA once a month, but I make do. Okay, I'm not the high value man of this society like Kevin Samuels was, 6-figure income earner. That's not gonna work over here. You black women that are saying pick me, you hear this? Stop saying pick me to men that are thriving in this reality right here, because this reality right here is done. You better start looking for men that can thrive in this reality and ready to prove that you're going to operate under this value system, not that one. Because that one right there in this reality is going to get your ass killed. You won't get picked in this reality. Now, I want you to think about something, you sisters that are saying pick me right now. Because on a subconscious level, you know this shit's coming. You know it. I want you to ask yourself this question. How many of the women that are gaslighting and canceling you and that are talking shit about you right now, how many of them do you think are actually going to survive this right here? I'm going to put this out here for y'all. I talk about this on my channel on BitChute all the time. In the movie, The Book of Eli, which was the context in which I taught this training regimen, how many black women did you see in that movie? You want to know why? This value system tried to carry over to this reality. It didn't work. The movie I Am Legend. How many black women did you see in that movie other than when he was, flashing back to before this happened? After this happened, how many black women did you see in that movie? None. You know why? Because they were trying to bring this over to here. It didn't work. See, even Hollywood has been preparing us for what's coming. Okay? So for all you women that are saying pick me, but even yet and still, you still are in this environment, you want a black man that's earning 6-figure incomes or 5-figure, 4-figure, whatever. That's not going to work at all over here because he has no clue as to how to survive in an environment like this or anything even close to this, like what I did. When I was homeless, I was able to acquire resources, and I'm not making this shit up. I was able to acquire resources that I couldn't even afford when I was working. So I'm in an apartment right now. I haven't paid 1 month's rent, and I'm not going to. And I'll get ready to recertify to get another 3 months free rent. That's if we don't end up here first. My cabinet's got enough food in there for me to eat off of if I don't walk out of here for at least another month if I ration it right. I ain't paid a dime for damn bit of it. Utilities on, air conditioner working real good. It's 110 degrees outside right now while I record this video. So if you want to be picked, then you need to be ready to go from that in the background to this right here in the background and operating this value system right here. And if you're willing to do that and not just saying pick me because you want some 6-figure income earner over here to pick you, but because there's a damn good chance you're going to make it over here. Matter of fact, I know you are, because men making the transition from here to here, if you think you outnumber us now, you're damn sure going to outnumber us when shit get to this level right here. And the reason why I say that, because from the transition from here to here, men are already being conditioned to mutually destroy each other to see who's the last man standing. Already. Go back and watch the movie The Book of Eli, and there was a scene in there when he was in that burnt out nuclear plant. When he was telling that girl, he said, look, if you were lucky enough to be either underground or to find a place like this to wait all that out, all this right here, because this was eventually settled. That's when the real high value men that were trained by myself personally online, not just in this society, worldwide. I have subscribers and you'll look, if you were to ever go over there, you'd be like, man, you ain't knowing much of nothing. Well, it's not supposed to cater to all the men in this society because they don't want to hear that anyway. Why? Because they're operating under a value system similar to this and thriving in this environment. So, no, I have probably right now currently 76 subscribers, but they've been faithful over the course of several years. I even have an inner circle of brothers that have been faithful with me for much longer than that. Okay? So there's not, why? Because there's not going to be a lot of people make it beyond this. If, like he said in the movie, if you're not underground or the Most High have it supernaturally already created a place for you to hold up until this blows over and we can actually be rescued out of this fucking nightmarish hellhole, you're not going to make it. All your 6-figure income earners and all your big bosses and flossing and all this other stuff and all these strong and independent black women and all this other, all that stuff's not going to make it in this environment. Why? Because they're not going to submit themselves to this value system. They're not going to do it. Should they survive this and transition to this, they're going to do so and bring this value system over here and then think that they're going to be picked. No, they're not going to be picked. If you think they're desperate now, they're going to be a hell of a lot more desperate under these conditions. And the Most High has already conditioned us supernaturally to pick you sisters out that operate from a genuine heart under this value system right here, even now. We're going to know who you are. We'll be able to pick you out of one out of a million. We're going to know who you are. So don't throw this away. This is your passport into this reality that we're all facing right now. And it's only going to ramp up as the days go by. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. This right here is your keys to self-preservation from this to that. I'm here to tell you. And I was training these men right under your nose, hidden in plain sight the whole time. That's why there's not a lot of us. And I'm glad that there isn't a lot of us. And we're not all in one place. We're scattered all over the place. But beware, there's going to be a lot of fake ones out there when this happens. They're going to be opportunists of the worst kind. And the Most High is going to let you know who they are. Just like he's going to let us know who you are. Okay? So there is good news. There is hope. All right? For you black women that, subscribe to this value system, there's hope for you. Whether you have a man or not. There's hope for you. Okay? That's my message to you. Look at these two sisters right here after this and see what it's about.
Hey, family. I need some help understanding something. So I kept seeing this term, they're going to call you a pick-me, underneath a couple of the videos that I've posted. So I had no clue what that even meant. So I had to do some research to find out what a pick-me meant. So as I'm watching these videos, I'm seeing that basically a pick-me is a woman who does things for her man, makes other women feel bad because they're not doing the same thing. And it's a woman who goes above and beyond to acquire or keep her man. And the things that are considered above and beyond are cooking, cleaning, having sex, treating him with respect. All the things we supposed to be doing. And this is what you say is called a pick-me? Girl, bye.
How do they differentiate women who want different and pick-me's? Because I see women who simply stand up for men getting called pick-me. That's it right there. Most of the time when you try to speak up for the black man, amplify the voice of the black man, you're a pick-me. I mean, by definition, the pick-me is supposed to be a derogatory term to say the woman who just is simply out there looking for validation from men. And she'll probably go at lengths, too, to put down her own black women, her own sisters, just to be seen as some trophy, all right? But the lines is getting crossed. The labels are getting mixed up. And if you just look at the word simply by what it says, pick me, which woman out there don't want to be picked by a nice and some strong, educated, brilliant black man? Come on, we all want to be picked if you really boil down to the semantics, right?